if the current reality does not allow for co-teaching, we still need co-planning. So let's reflect on the nature of the relevance of our co-planning in the digital classroom by answering the following questions. Where, how, when, what, who, and why are we co-planning?
So where are we co-planning? Again, this refers to, the digital platform that you're choosing, or really any context in which you and your co-teacher are finding each other to co-plan. So please feel free again to answer in the chat. There are many different options available to us for co-planning spaces. We've listed a few here, some of the more tech-based options, such as Google Drive, Zoom, Google Meets, FaceTime, Skype, Dropbox, OneDrive. Those are just a few that tech-based options that we're mentioning. Certainly there are many more that you may be using, but we can also go old school and just maybe meet with our co-teachers and co-plan through texting, emailing, and maybe even phone calls. So share with us what you're doing. Where are you co-planning? What is the space where you and your co-teachers and colleagues are meeting to co-plan for your remote learners?
Okay, so I'm putting the link in again for that co-planning tool someone requested, so it's coming your way.
And again, anything that you were not able to grab from the chat today, we will be sharing all of the resources and materials from today's presentation will be made available to you, the recorded session, and any handouts and links that we added into the chat, we will be making those available to you. So I see some phone calls, FaceTime, Zoom, texting, email, a lot of different forms of communication going on. Google Slides, which are emailed a few days prior to each week.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see as many phone calls as I see here. I was assuming everyone would be trying to be very techie and do the face-to-face thing, but sometimes you just got to keep it simple and whatever works for you. I think
Absolutely,
it's important
absolutely.
that put that time in together.
Whatever works for you.
Okay, great. So we're gonna move on to how are we co-planning? Reflecting upon the benefits of synchronous versus asynchronous, as well as the reality of our individual schedules. At times, synchronous conversation may be the most effective way to discuss and to plan for supporting the needs of our students. But I know that some of you already shared that sometimes it's just email, right? So, but this is a decision that you have to make with your co-teacher, right? So what works best for you and how will you co-plan?
And really, I think we're all at the point where we are all figuring this out together. As each day goes by, we're figuring out what works best for us. So that leads us to our next question: when are we co-planning? And there's some overlap in answering these questions. But when we think about when are we co-planning, again, do we have an agreed upon schedule? Are we making it a routine? Are we setting aside the time to make sure we are touching base and co-planning? Are we having daily conversations, weekly conversations? So again, please just share with us how often you and your co-teachers engage in co-planning conversations.
Yeah, so I did see someone bring up a great point that they have to keep a phone log of their parent phone calls, because they said this is taking up a great amount of time, and I would imagine so during a time like this where we're following up not only to check on our students academic progress, but also their social emotional well-being. All right, so
and really a log is such a great idea, because at this point, I know I could speak for myself and maybe many of you, the days are all blurred one into the next. So just for your own documentation and record keeping, to know when these conversations are taking place, a log can certainly be very, very helpful at this time.
Right. So to answer the question when, we have a lot of daily, which
is awesome.
Yeah, that is great that we are really committed to this partnership and to serving our students together, right? That's amazing. All right. So the following question is, what are we co-planning? Do we have a focus for our co-planning? Are we co-planning lessons, units, single assignments or assessments? Keeping in mind again that the tool that we develop and that we shared with you is a unit plan. So it allows for both teachers to have clear expectations of what is coming next. Long-term planning is a great fit for those teachers who may not have opportunities to co-plan often. But let's hear from you guys. So what do you usually plan when you meet? Is it a single lesson, or do you try to do, long-term planning?
And remember that co-planning tool, while we prepared it for a unit, absolutely, that's something that can be modified to use on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, however it suits your needs.
Right. Weekly plans, bi-weekly. Okay. Okay.
I see one response that they are, just following the plans, following the unit that was established before leaving for COVID-19. And, that's no easy task to keep things going, to go ahead with the plan that was already in place. But if you're finding a way to do that, that's awesome and incredible.
Right. Okay.
So let's look at our next question. Who does what during co-planning? So this question leads to conversations concerning the division of labor, being mindful of and incorporating the areas of expertise that each teacher brings to the classroom, and ensuring that there's equitable access and support for all students. So both teachers really, really need to be contributing to this conversation to make sure that all of those considerations are taken and all of those elements are in place. So how are you navigating that part? How are you and your co-teachers approaching the division of labor and deciding who does what during co-planning? Is it set roles? Do you go back and forth? Let us know what you're doing. You can throw some responses in the chat. We'd love to hear from you.
I know most of the time when Kelley and I co-plan, we'd like to do a lot of it together. So whether it's through Zoom or, prior to this whole work from home experience, we would sit together and co-plan, but there's times where we would just try and divvy up the work and, okay, we'll handle this part and I'll handle this part and then we'll meet again. So again, if time is of the essence and you can't sit in front of the computer all day with your co-teacher, that division of labor is essential.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're getting some responses in the chat. So Nicole says that they're very transparent. They see everything and agree or disagree on things. They pick weeks to do things together and then weeks to tweak or add or change. Okay. I see some people say it depends on the topic. Who does what?
True. And again, that speaks to, the areas of expertise that each is bringing to that conversation and into the classroom.
Okay. Which is the great part about co-teaching, because everyone has, something to bring to the table. And if we're not working together, we might never really see the other person's strength, right? So it's important to be open to allow them to reveal those strengths to you and share that with the students as well.
And I love how I see the variety of responses too, where, some people are saying it depends on the topic. And then other people are saying, we have our set roles, we maintain that each week and it works well for you. So really, again, that's what it comes back to. What are your routines and sticking to what's working best for you.
Great. Okay. So why are we co-planning? We wanted to share with you 2 recently published articles by Andrea Honigsfeld and John Nordmeyer that speak directly to the question of why co-planning and collaboration in support of ELS is so critical during this global pandemic and period of distance learning. So we're going to share these links in the chat. And here are some tips, highlights and tips that they shared.
I'm just throwing this in the chat here. This is the 2 articles should be coming through. Did both come through?
Just in just a second.
Or just the one?
Sure, nothing yet. I don't see it anyway. There we go. They're both there. Thank you.
Both there. Okay, good. Okay. So we would like to point out again the importance of sticking to tools that you're familiar with, but also the notion of intervisitation that was discussed in these articles. So even if co-teaching, as we're accustomed to, is not really happening right now or happening to a different degree in our digital classrooms, we can still visit each other's digital spaces, which is really such an important practice to get into during this time. So we can see what's going on, we can see how we need to be contributing to the classroom, how students need to be supported.